Turf Talk with Drew Miller.
This week's episode, we host Charlie Weaver, a head groundskeeper of the Rocket City Trash Pandas, and it was truly an incredible podcast with the recently named Minor League Baseball head groundskeeper of the year, which is a very well-deserved honor for a man who's doing so much more than just maintaining a field. One of the big things that I was so excited about to have Charlie on is that he's worked with other high school turf programs down in Alabama and Athens, and it's really just incredible to see him sort of take on that role of mentor and sort of guiding the next generation down a path of sports field management and be able to show these kids like truly what can be a very well-deserving career that leads to things like, again, being the best minor league groundskeeper in the league, and it's something that he should take great pride in. He does a phenomenal job, and being able to talk about it and talk about all the different things going on when it comes to minor league groundskeeping, taking over a new stadium and seeing from the ground up things that go well, things that don't, and just sort of, again, being a field manager that we all know and love, the chaos and the good times of what can be and what should be when it comes to a career and someone's life moving forward, and Charlie does a great job of emulating everything a groundskeeper should be, and it was truly an honor to have him on. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Tiger Turf Talk. Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Tiger Turf Talk. I'm your host, Drew Miller, with our special co-host, a former student, Mr. Sam Ree, and former co-host of the podcast. Excited to have him back. Today we have on an incredible guest. We have Mr. Charlie Weaver, the head groundskeeper of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. How you doing today, Charlie?
Great, guys. How are y'all? It's a pleasure to be here.
Doing great. I want to start off by saying congratulations on the incredible honor as being named the Minor League Groundskeeper of the Year. That's an incredible accomplishment and truly an awesome thing for you. So it's great to see you getting recognized for the work that you do.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. That's I wasn't expecting that at all. It was funny because we're in the middle of a field renovation and we're out there laying sod, and my GM calls. It's like, hey, you won Southern League Groundskeeper of the Year. I was like, oh, great. I didn't know I was up for it or whatever. And he goes, oh, you also won.
By the way, the big one.
Oh.
That makes laying sod a little better.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, it's a huge honor for sure.
Absolutely, and very deserving. So like you said, you're going through a renovation right now. What has this year been like for you? And obviously I want to get into you working with the next generation of groundskeepers because it's been phenomenal. That's the real reason why I want to get you on. Just been super busy, but what has this season been like for you? I noticed you guys had football and everything that's pretty new to a minor league facility and everything. What has it been like for you for this year and everything that's been a part of this year of your head groundskeeper?
You know what? I thought we had a really good season. Started the year with some college baseball, to get our feet wet. Some of our staff, hadn't really worked in baseball, so we try to do some kind of high-end SEC baseball kind of stuff, get through that. And then obviously the season's, a grind. I thought we had a really great Trash Panda season. Got most of our games in, didn't have a whole lot of rainouts. One of our biggest challenges in the beginning of the season was we had a private concert for like 2,000 people on a Saturday. And then we started a 12-game homestand on Tuesday. Me and my assistant didn't leave the stadium till like 5:30 or 6 a.m. on Sunday after that concert, getting everything cleaned up, and then having to go straight into a 12-gamer. Was definitely a challenge, but made it through the season relatively, unscathed. I mean, no huge issues. Our team played great, so that obviously helps when the team is good. All the players are very, very welcoming, very appreciative of what we do. And then as soon as the season ends, we go straight into a football flip, which was something, I I had seen him from afar, but never done hands on. And we were only doing it for one game. So we wanted to do everything in house. So we're, me and my sister out there cutting down our skin edges and our warning track edges so the sod matches up. And, it was about a 3 or 4 day process, and then just, do what we do and grow that grass in. And then, me and him were kind of butting heads on how to paint a football field because, you know, baseball's pretty easy when it comes to paint. But football is a little more challenging. But yeah, it was a great success. I think the football game really was a highlight. A lot of hard work for one event, but at the same time, see all the fans come out, see all the players, loved how the field looked and how it played. So I think it was a great year.
So you were talking about like the edges and everything, getting it down to where everything's level. What were some of those hardships when you were first starting off laying the sod and then sort of transitioning to, again, growing grass on your infield skin and ensuring the playability from what maybe your outfield or infield to that sod that you had laid? What were some of those challenges that you faced?
I guess the biggest challenge was we didn't do it by laser or combinator or anything. We did it all by hand, which is a challenge in itself. But going through after we would dig by hand and have a test piece of sod to make sure we were good to go, and just doing that basically around the entire infield and most of the warning track was the biggest challenge for sure.
Absolutely. When it comes to your season, obviously you explained how you had a concert and a couple things that popped up. What are some of the things that you and your staff look forward to when it comes to the season and just really going in there and grinding it out? There are 12-game homestand is nothing to joke about. There are so many things that you're doing routinely on a daily basis that require precise work and ensure that everything's the same from game 1 to game 12. What are some of those things you guys are looking forward to and you really enjoy when it comes to your work?
I mean, I honestly look forward to coming in every day, just because with weather and everything, it's usually different, but at the same time, it's the same. Like during homestands, I know what I'm doing every day, and that's a relief for me because I don't really have to think about much. But we really look forward to. I look forward to like game time itself because we put on all this work. In the morning, you come in and mow and you water in your skin and getting BP stuff set out. But then like when it's time for the game to start, it's like, all right, we get our pregame done, then we gotta kind of get to sit back and relax and enjoy the game. And I really look forward to like Fridays and Saturdays because those are our biggest crowds, and we actually do a in between inning promotion. The grounds crew is in charge of the T-shirt cannon.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
that's right. Give it to the grounds crew.
Yeah, so
Everything's gonna go great.
Yeah, we got a Polaris. We got a Polaris Ranger in the shop, and my assistant stands on the back with the T-shirt cannon, and I drive around the warning track, and he shoots T-shirts at people. So that's always fun. And I usually get the Bluetooth stereo going in that thing and crank the music all the way up. While we're just trying to make it fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Fridays and Saturdays are probably my favorite just because we have huge crowds and everybody's into it. We have great fans here. So, looking forward to that. And then the afternoons on Sundays, getting those sunny day games in. It's just a great time.
How big is your crew? And do you have interns as well?
So I haven't had any interns yet. I'm actually trying to get a couple for this upcoming season. But full-time, it's me and my assistant are full-time. And then we usually keep a stable of like 8 to 10 game day people. And we usually try to bring 4 or 5 of them in for a game.
And so most days it's just you and your assistant doing most of the day-to-day tasks.
Yeah. Every day it's me and him, and I usually mow the outfield, he mows the infield, and we kind of split up if we need to do some other things. We get BP stuff out, but yeah, it's just me and him until 5 o'clock when game day people show up.
Gotta love the grind, right?
Yeah.
Obviously you were talking about right now you're going through a renovation. which has been very sort of, it's become normalized in minor league baseball due to the new standards set by the MLB and everything that goes in with it. What has it been like being able to take your field and bring it within those standards and understand that everything that you do is so critical to meet those standards and to have the safe playability of those players throughout the entire season? What has it been like working with those standards and figuring out what's best practices for that?
Yeah, it's been interesting. We actually, during the renovation, we kind of ran into a little bit of an issue because in the PDL, your infield grass is supposed to be a maximum of 8 inches above your dugout steps, but our dugouts are not the same elevation. One of the dugouts is an inch and a half lower than the other one, so we had to go through a bunch of talks with the architect and the contractor and MLB, like, hey,
We can't rebuild the stadium.
right, is it more cost effective to, tear up some concrete and resurface some concrete, at a higher level, or do we bite the bullet and lose like a half inch to an inch of root zone to get our infield down? Because to my knowledge, you have to meet it in both dugouts. So like, we can be at 8 inches in one dugout and then 6.5 in the other, and there's no wiggle room on the one. So that's kind of what we're fighting. But other than that, our field meets requirements other than that specific problem, which has been rectified. So we're good to go. Sod's actually already back down, and the guys are out there working on laser grading the warning track, as we speak. So we're rocking and rolling.
And so what did you end up going with, their solution to that problem? Or is it still?
They dropped the infield.
Gotcha.
So we're like
always the groundskeeper's problem.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
I would have figured let's add some concrete.
Cutting stuff out.
Yeah,
Groundskeeper. Come on.
I voted for the concrete fix. But,
yeah. Damn straight.
So essentially, the way I see it is we're gonna have to replace our infield every year because we're at 8 inches right now. So I top dress once or twice, and hey, what do you do?
Whoops.
So
what are we supposed to do, right?
I think we're looking into doing some stuff in like the off season, like a skating rink, or they see those winter slides or whatever, something.
Yeah, we were just at Charlotte. They had it down there.
Right. So. Like if we're gonna replace it anyway, we might as well
get all the use out of it.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of what we're leaning, but who knows?
Be careful what you wish for. I'm sure they're gonna put all of the lights on you.
Yeah.
And it's
we already do a Christmas light show, but nothing on the field itself at the moment.
Gotcha. It's just funny to me how is it that minor league ballparks are like, hey, we're just gonna throw lights up. By the way, you're in charge of it. Like, I don't understand why they're always coming up with things. It's like, no, there's no point to this. Like,
put it on the grounds crew.
Yeah, for sure. So, with Rocket City, how long have you been there for?
I joined the staff in July of 2019.
Okay.
The stadium was nowhere near done yet, but they were about to build the field, so that's why they brought me in.
Okay, so what was that like? Again, I thought that was the case, talking to Bryn and everything. Like, what was that process like, being able to be there at the beginning and be a part of the construction of your field now and have an influence and say, hey, this is what I need. This is what we need to change. What are we doing here? Like, right. What was that process like, again, being on the ground level of everything that went into the stadium?
Well, it was really eye-opening because I've never been part of, full construction. Just seeing exactly where everything is. And, I have photos that document, if I, need to know exactly where this irrigation line is. Well, hey, I've got a picture that shows where it is in the ground. But just seeing everything go in piece by piece was cool. And knowing where everything's at. But, I thought I would have more influence on changes. But it turns out most of that stuff was kind of signed off on and purchased before I was hired and brought in. So
gotcha.
It turned out that trying to change anything was just too much of a hassle for everybody. So
we actually just went through that. So I completely
so we're kind of biting the bullet. We're biting the bullet on the back end because, I wanted Dur Edge and and certain clay, I wanted black stick and all that stuff. And we're having to we change it ourselves, which, we're, as the field sits right now, we're where we want to be. So I can't really complain.
Well, congratulations on getting to that point, because it's not easy and it's not fun. What are some of those materials, like you said, Dur-Edge and Black Stick? When you talk about Dur-Edge, like obviously it's sort of become the standard and whatnot. Why is it that certain products are what you have found to be best practices for you, and especially in your location? Because there are so many different people that I've talked to when it comes to, well, Black Stick does great here, but we're deeper in the South and the humidity messes with it and all these different things. What has it been like for you sort of figuring that out and making your own sort of equation to, again, the sort of the overall product?
Yeah, I think having prior experience with it, I used to spend a season in the Midwest League as an intern. We had Dur-Edge and Pro's Choice gumbo. And then when I came down here, that Dur-Edge was all I had ever really used. I didn't really want to change it. But definitely with the climate and everything, you have to change what you do. I mean, we pound it with water. I mean, just because, it's 85 and sunny when you wake up in the morning down here. So, we got to give it all it can handle. And I think, about midway through the season, we really figured it out on what was best for us, water wise and nail dragging and all that stuff. But you really just got to play with it and figure out what works for you. That's really all I can say about it. It's just it's a labor of love, really, getting that stuff to do what you want it to do.
Absolutely. And it never listens usually, but we won't get into that. So again, I actually was at the Softball Little League World Series and got to talk to Bryn South, and everything that you've done. I believe it's with Athens. Is that the correct name of the program?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So what has it been like sort of being sort of that steward of the next generation, allowing these kids to have the opportunity to come work for you? And probably one of my favorite things, and I think I tweeted it, I could be wrong, but you had a field trip with the class and then you had them actually working, which again, like we've done things like that, but to be able to have a full class there and be able to be a part of just pretty much immersing themselves in your crew and having that opportunity, how has that been for you, sort of creating those relationships, providing the opportunities? Like one of my big things, and I always say this, is that all it takes is a moment, and it can change a kid's life forever. And you were able to do that and have those influences. What has it been like sort of creating that relationship with that program and everything?
Well, it's been great. Coach Smith over there at Athens, baseball coach, he also teaches the turf class, has been great. He's brought him over a couple times. The first time was just for a regular stadium tour. And then we had I guess you call it an education day, where we played at like 11 a.m. So all the local schools, basically a field trip for the kids to come out and see a game. And, he reached out and was like, hey, is there anything we can do for that? And I was like, absolutely. So the night before, we knew we had a bunch of kids coming in the next day. So we didn't really do anything post game.
Nice.
We were like, we're going to have a bunch of, free help the next morning. And that's exactly what we did. Bryn hopped on the mower and mowed the outfield, and we had some kids helping patch, bullpens and the plate and everything, and hand drag the infield and stuff. Just, if you're going to be there, you might as well do something and, learn hands-on kind of what we're doing every day. And that was great. And then that led to, we were kind of short on game day staff. So I just texted Coach Smith. I was like, hey, you got any kids that, are looking for, a little summer job that may be really interested in this? And sure enough, like 4 or 5 of them, reached out to me, and they were phenomenal this season. They caught on very quickly, and they really enjoy what they do and take pride in it. So that really helped. And I look forward to the, continuation of having them out here. I was really happy with what we got out of those kids this summer, and hope to have some more.
I was going to say, what was that experience sort of like, seeing the transition from, say, the classroom to the workplace for you? We've had, I can't count how many kids who have gone into golf courses or different like areas of the industry. Obviously, sports turf. We used to have a minor league field like 5 minutes from our school, and then they moved an hour away. But that's not the point. With everything, what is it like seeing a student actually having an understanding when they walk in the workplace compared to what you usually are dealing with when it comes to unskilled labor coming into your workplace, having to teach them everything? What has it been like to have that?
I mean, it's a game changer, honestly, because especially with someone like Bryn and the other kids we had this summer, they already know what like certain tools are called or what I'm talking about when I say this. And if I tell Bryn and Landon, hey, go patch the bullpen, I don't have to tell them what to get, what to load in the cart. I don't have to tell them step by steps on how to do it. I don't have to watch them. They know exactly what to do. We show them once how we do it, kind of our way, and then let them go. And obviously we check up on it, but they do a great job. But it's definitely different not having to explain it to someone, why we're doing this a certain way, or what all this stuff is called, what my terminology is. It's really helpful when they have a class, in high school that they already do it, and then they just insert themselves into the workplace and they kind of are already a step ahead.
Absolutely. Now, when it comes to the overall scope of it, like obviously they're coming from a program, they're coming to you. What does it mean to you to have that impact? Because we just went to Charlotte and worked with Daniel Zito on the ACC championship field, and I can't keep telling him the impact that he had on the kids that were there and how it's going to change not just them but this industry is huge. What is it like to you, and what does that mean to you to have that impact? Because you are having that impact, whether you actually understand it or not. Because it's incredible what you're doing for these kids,
Right.
And truly, it's going to change the game. And that's what I'm trying to get more people in the industry to be aware of and understand. What you're doing is absolutely incredible, and I can't thank you enough for that. What does it mean to you to have that impact?
I guess I don't really realize the impact I do have, but it means a lot to just be someone that these kids can look up to. Like, hey, if I can do it, then you can do it. It's really special. I think just if you change one kid's mind about what we're doing, if it's definitely a career for some kids, then then you did your job. But I really enjoy being around that program and having those kids come out, and it means a lot.
Now, obviously, you're being the person that has brought or bringing kids into this industry. What was it that brought you to the industry? What was it that you really found a minor league groundskeeping job and were like, oh, this is awesome. I can do this. I really enjoy doing it. What brought you to the industry?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I played small college Division II baseball here in town. We were the grounds crew because it's Division II. So I was a pitcher, so I
always on the mound.
Always on the mound.
I love it.
The way I saw it was, if I'm going to throw off of this, I want it to be
perfect.
So that's what I strove for, and I was like, man, this is fun. I like being outside all the time. I like working with my hand. Like, I like getting dirty. I like working with my hands. So I played my 4 years, but I had 5 years of school. So the last year of school, coach gave me some scholarship money, and I just stayed on, and I was the grounds crew basically. That's I started mowing and all that stuff for the first time, and never really done any of that. And that led to in the internship in the Midwest League. Jake Hannes up there in Wisconsin, who has moved on from there recently, but I got up there. He took a chance on me, and that's really where I learned the ins and outs of the minor league side. And then I knew that we lost our AA team in 2014, so there wasn't baseball down here for a very long time. But they had already announced, hey, we're thinking about bringing another team back, blah blah blah. So I transitioned from that went from Wisconsin down to Hoover, at the Hoover Met, where the SEC baseball tournament is. And Sam King down there, who's now at the University of Alabama, really kind of gave me the reins to the place, and that's really where I learned how to spray and all the cultural practices and everything involved with maintaining a high end baseball field. And I'm from Madison, where the Trash Pandas are now.
Gotcha.
So I was like, my whole goal is like, hey man, let's get home.
Get home. Nice.
I can work for the hometown team, and I could be set up. And when they were hiring, I just threw my resume out. A few phone calls later, and here we are.
It's an awesome story, and that's I've told many people this is that is probably the biggest untapped sort of labor market is all high school athletes love what they're doing in their sport.
Yeah.
98% of them are not going to college. Why don't we give them the opportunity to stay in it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just it's incredible to have again an athlete who's so passionate about their sport find a way to stay in it, because I was the same story. I didn't go all 4 years. I was a failed college baseball player, and I ended up transferring somewhere else to Virginia Tech. But I wanted to stay in baseball somehow, and one way was either sports management, going in the front office or something, which I had no connections with anyone, or going on the field. And I ended up on the field, and I've loved every second of it. So it's an awesome story. With that, obviously, comes a lot of different people that were in a part of your journey, and had an influence on where you went. Could you mention some of those mentors and what they've meant to you, sort of getting through to this point where you're at your goal, where you wanted to be at the hometown team working for the Trash Pandas?
Yeah, definitely. I owe a huge thank you to my college baseball coach, Coach Royer, for first letting me stay around and help him out, work on the field, because without that decision by him, who knows where I'd be. And obviously Jake Hannis and Aaron Pringle, who were the crew up in Wisconsin, really taught me the ins and outs of the minor league side. How to deal with managers, umpires, how to go up to the front office and ask for something that we can't really afford, but hey, we need it. And then Sam down in Hoover, Sam King, was a huge mentor to me, kind of basically because he kind of let me do my own thing and learn from my mistakes and and all that. And then while I was in Hoover, I connected with Zach Van Voorhees, who really was an advocate for me to get this job, and he allowed me to come when he was in Birmingham with the Barons and help him out and kind of see it from a different side. And I owe it to all those people, is the reason I'm here right now.
It's truly incredible, having it, and then you doing that for the next generation is what it's all about. So it's awesome to hear. With everything, obviously, my biggest thing about minor league groundskeeping is that it's a grind. They took the 1.5 inch away out of the root zone from you because they were like, you know what, he'll deal with it. It'll be fine.
Right.
What is it that you love about it? What keeps you going? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you and your assistant motivated to put out the best product for these players? And again, to the point where, again, you're one of the best there is. What has it been like keeping that motivation over the years and just being excited to go to work every day, like you said?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge for sure. When we get to like game 45 out of 69 home games, you're like, man, are we almost there? Or, we're
a little kid
so
in the back.
close,
Are we
so
there yet?
far.
Are we
Yeah.
there?
But I think being around our team every day and the team's manager, Andy, he's like a spark of energy. He loves what we do and everything. So just hanging out with him every day is great. And the thing about like because we get ratings and reviews from the visiting team now, like, and we see them every month. Basically, we'll get a report back on how we're doing, and if we're struggling in one area, we'll up that. And I want to be the best. I want to supply the best surface that I can. So that really keeps me and my assistant going. Is we want to be the best field in the league. We'll worry about the rest of the minor league baseball later, but as long as we're the best in the league, that's all I really care about. Just providing a safe and aesthetically pleasing surface for our players. They were they were very appreciative of what we did and very, fun to be around, very talkative. They definitely, were, a huge asset to get through the season. But I think the thing that kept us most going were those ratings that we got, because I wanted to see, it was like a 1 through 5 thing. I wanted to see fives. If we didn't have fives, then I was like, what are we doing wrong? But it really, it's also people's opinions, so you really can't.
There's only so much you can do, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, especially the umpires, because like
Oh god.
they don't even see half of the things
Oh gosh.
half of the things they're reviewing. Like, because we'll get a report back and it'll be like a 3 on the batting cage. I'm like, you don't even know where the batting cage is. How are you gonna get
Congratulations,
From the
you
umpire.
idiot.
yeah. So, but
Oh gosh.
I strive to be the best, in our league, so that really keeps us going.
That's awesome. It's awesome to hear. With that, obviously, when it comes to the motivational side of things, how do you keep your crew excited to come in and working and doing the best work that they can so that you can rely on them and understand that they are capable? And like you said, you don't have to be too worried about your game day guys. Go patch them out. Like they know what they're doing. How do you have confidence and faith in your crew to get the job done to your standards so that you are meeting those standards you have?
Yeah, no, we keep it fun in here. We cut up and joke with each other. We pay them pretty well, so they like coming here.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and I try to like bring my grill in and cook for them about once a month or so. Just kind of keep the energy up. It does get challenging, in the dog days, but we just kind of keep it lively and cut up with each other is
That's
really
awesome.
the best thing we can do.
That's awesome. Now, something that sort of goes hand in hand, obviously, with your staff is our industry and the people that are in it. What is your take on sort of our industry as a whole and sort of the whole SFMA and what it means to you to be a part of, to have, again, sort of the network that you've created over the years with different guys in this industry and gals, sorry.
No, yeah, it's huge. There's a bunch of people that I've never, physically met in person that I could probably reach out to. And if I have a question on anything, kind of pick their brain. I think it's the conference every year is obviously great because, you get to reconnect with people that you haven't maybe seen in a while. But I think the state of the industry is in a good spot, especially seeing trips like the ones you all just had to Charlotte. Seeing stuff like that is great because I think that only elevates everybody. But yeah, I think we're in a good spot. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing everybody in Salt Lake and seeing some faces I haven't seen in a year. But I'm just excited. I think the big thing I think on the table is the NFLPA figuring out what they're going to do.
I'm excited about that.
Do with the fields there. So we'll have to see about that. But I think we're in a great spot.
I'm actually trying to get him on the podcast, but he's not responding. So all I can say is I tried,
Yeah.
I'll probably send another 2 emails for the actual event. So we'll see. With that, obviously the conference is a big deal and you're looking forward to that. Is there anything else you're looking forward to when it comes to the actual event and maybe some educational sessions that are available to you?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a few educational sessions. I haven't really dove deep into the itinerary yet to figure out which ones I'm going to go to, but looking forward to that. And then the trade show, obviously, because I want to buy some equipment. So I need to go see that firsthand. And then at the end of this SFMA, we have a minor league symposium where all the minor league people in attendance get together and we just throw ideas off each other and have some educational sessions there too. And that's probably the highlight for me is that part of it. But I look forward to the whole thing, honestly.
Absolutely. When it comes to the minor league symposium, it's rather new, right? Am I wrong in saying that
it's relatively new to my knowledge? The first one I went to was in West Palm.
Okay. I think that was the first one. I could be wrong, but
they might have had 1 or 2 before that. I'm not entirely sure.
When it comes to that, obviously recently with the whole PA and everything, like all the standards and everything, what have those symposiums done for you guys and what has it meant for you sort of being able to bounce those ideas off of and being able to benefit from each other's knowledge?
No, it's been great, especially last year in Savannah. a few teams have already been audited. So they shared what that process was like and took photos of their deficient areas and what didn't pass and shared them with everybody. So we're kind of on the same page when it comes to that process of what to expect when they do come audit you. And then showing, just bouncing ideas off each other when it comes to events and stuff, what people do for certain things and all that stuff, just the day-to-day stuff. And, the biggest part of it was that audit process, picking each other's brains on what to expect and what you can do to rectify things.
When it comes to all of that, sorry, I had a message. When it comes to obviously rectifying all of that, for you specifically going through the renovation right now, what are you looking to add to next year for your staff and you? Even if it's a tweak or something, what are you looking forward to next season with the work that's going on right now?
Well, I'm looking forward to a uniform surface. I don't know if you're familiar with the problem we had earlier since construction. But
no, if you want to explain, that'd be awesome.
So basically, during construction, certified 419 was spec for the field, but it had to be grown in a certain medium that met the specs that was going to be, the root zone specs.
Yep.
They ended up finding a field that met the root zone specs, but it did not have certified 419. But because that it met root zone specs, they're like, screw it, we're going to go with that.
So it wasn't 419.
No, it was 419, but it was uncertified. We didn't really, it was kind of just a mixed bag. They laid it down in, I don't know, late October of 2019. It was pretty much dormant by then. Immediately overseeded it, and then, we didn't really see anything until May of 2020, and of course, that's when COVID shut everything down.
Yep.
So we started noticing different colors, different growing patterns of this grass, and it was in the same direction that they laid the sod. Like you could tell like one roll was different from another roll. They were right next to each other. So we ended up getting it DNA tested by the University of Georgia, and they said, you've got 419 out here, but you also have something that's similar to Tiff Eagle, but it's not Tiff Eagle. I can't tell you what it is, blah, 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 blah.
It's not real. It's just, there's something out there.
Right. So it was a running joke for me. Like, we should have been like a research farm for turf grass.
Everybody come out and take
2 years trying to figure out what the heck was going on out here. But that's after that football game we had, I sprayed Roundup, I don't know, 3-4 times just to make sure everything was dead.
Good, and then right.
Going back with certified TIF stuff. So hopefully going forward, all of our grass is the same color and grows the same way.
Gotta love that. Yeah. The new feeling for sports field managers is just to have everything done right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's kind of terrible, but I'm glad they fixed it for you.
Yeah, we're through it now. That's all that matters.
For sure. When it comes to over the years, has there been any major changes that you've made, whether it's staff, practices, different things that from when you started there in 2019 to now entering 2023 season? What have you sort of changed to optimize sort of everything that you have going on for whether it's concerts, games, whatever it is that they're going to throw at you,
Yeah, I think we haven't really changed a whole lot since we're so new. We kind of haven't had the need to yet.
That's awesome.
I think the biggest thing is we're trying to get a couple interns for this season, and the idea is have 2 of those 2 interns, and then me and my assistant. We can get more stuff done in the morning, and we can leave when the game starts. If there's no weather in the area, then hey, I'll take off Tuesday night. Y'all got this, and so we can get some more rest. Because right now, I mean, me and my assistant are here on a game day from probably 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. if not later, 6 days in a row, it gets old
tiring.
pretty quickly. So
Yeah, I'm sure.
hopefully just adding a couple more bodies in here, and so we can get more time off is the big thing.
Absolutely. You definitely deserve it. And it's really cool that, again, like to the level of being okay with an intern sort of running it. And I think even things like that, where it's like they get the opportunity to do that, changes the game,
Yeah.
Which is awesome. So definitely cool.
So yeah, having a lot of outside events come in and with the challenges that brings to, bringing the field back to what you want it to be. Is there anything special you do like after somebody packs up and leaves? Like I know earlier you mentioned you were staying late on one day and then the game was the next day. So what does that kind of look like?
So basically after that concert and after most of our concerts, well, actually we've only had 3, so all of them, but we'll stay and we'll poke holes on the infield and where the road was, like the plywood road to build out for the stage. We'll do that, and then we're picking up trash, doing anything we can do that night while we're there to speed up the process. I'm got my truck out there pulling generators off the field, basically getting everything out of our way, so we can get rocking and rolling. But yeah, it's usually late night. We're on the air fire, and one of us is walking, and the other one is picking up trash and trying to clean everything up, so that the next day is not as bad.
Still waiting for someone to come up with a chair for that aerator. Like,
yeah,
I'm telling you, you'll make millions of dollars. That would be amazing.
Absolutely.
That would be nice.
Sorry, I'm laughing because one of our former students, he's actually at Tennessee Tech doing turf and mechanical engineering, and he's here today actually helping out. We're doing a surprise little trailer thing here, and the next couple of weeks he'll come out. But he's big on figuring out like how to make things better for the turf manager. And his big thing is cup holders. And I'm like,
he's the best cup holder.
Another thing is that seat, because I came out one day, and I'm probably getting in trouble for this, but he was aerating, and I had him for 2 classes, and I come out and he's riding the thing like a horse. So he's like leaning over the top. I'm like, yeah, that's not how you're supposed to do that. Sorry, that just popped in my head.
That's great. I've thought about doing that myself, but never actually did it.
It works. It's just I feel like I would get tired. My arm would be like dead, but with that, we wrap up on these last 2 questions. And again, I'm always interested to see the different answers that come from it, but this question is not to make things easier, better, whatever it is. If there was one thing you wish you knew going into this industry when you first started, what would that one thing be and why?
Oh man.
Sorry.
I wish that I had known going in how to, I guess, manage people, because I'd never been a manager. I'd always been managed, and I was like, how can I be the best boss to someone else without sacrificing our quality of work or whatever. So I wish I had more I guess opportunity to do that, or learn from some more people on how to be the best manager for a crew.
Absolutely.
You said keeping it fun there is a big deal. So I think you're on the right track.
Yeah, no, I think so far so good. We'll see how it goes.
Definitely.
And the last question we like to wrap up with is, if you could tell a student or a kid that would be in the industry in the future, what would your words of advice be to them? Especially now that there's a lot more high school programs that we hear about with turf kids, that like the ones you have that work for you. What would you tell those students or people who are just athletes right now that want to be in the industry?
Yeah, I'd say try to, find someone to reach out to and pick their brain on how they made it. And, I would say try to diversify,
Get experience.
your sports and experience, just trying to get a good all around, knowledge of what we're doing, and don't be a stranger, basically.
Incredible. It definitely, all those things hit the nail on the head. I said that right. There we go. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the
Thank
time
you very
today.
much.
This was great. Again, congratulations on an incredible honor. So well deserved. The work that minor league groundskeepers do is unparalleled. The grind that you guys go through every day and being able to come out the other side loving everything about it is truly incredible. And I commend you on all of that. So,
Well, thank you guys very much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on here, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the year. So,
and once again, I'm going to say it again. I'm sorry, but thank you for reaching out and being that advocate for the younger kids and the generation to come, because there's so many great people that are going to do incredible things in this industry. They just need a mentor like you to allow them to have that avenue and allow them to have that voice that truly they don't have without people like you. So again, I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. So
I appreciate it. I'm always available for anybody that needs anything. So